Ortiz to Leewolf TV Behind the Scenes, and today we're going to be talking about Jeepers Creepers overall. Basically, we're going to talk about the first movie, the second movie, the third movie, and then the reboot slash sequel slash prequel, Jeepers Creepers Reborn. And I will definitely go into that. I will leave timestamps so you can jump to whatever part you want me to be talking about. So, and I will leave gaps. I'll leave me some gaps so that you can actually know when I'm about to go into the next one. So first, Jeepers Creepers 1. That movie was great. It was scary because all you knew was that there was some guy trying to run people off the road in a creepy old truck. You couldn't see what he looked like. You didn't know who he was. All you knew was that there was a figure in a coat and a hat, like in a cowboy hat looking thing. Anyway, and they end up finding him behind this church. They end up driving past this church where he's dumping bodies down this well, pretty much. And he sees them seeing him, so he chases after again, gives chase, and then they finally outrun him. Well, now he's chasing them again. Now he continues to chase them because he finds out. Well, he realizes that they went back to the church and everything, and they go back to the church. They go down the well to investigate. Come to find out, yes, it was bodies because they wasn't sure. It was bodies. Not only it was bodies, but wrapped up. But he also had actually preserved the bodies in like some sort of embalming fluid or something like that, to where the bodies wouldn't decay, or he, in my knowledge, maybe he basted them in resin to where he could preserve them forever. But basically, he sewed them back together, then he sewed them up on the wall as some tapestry of naked bodies, like naked dead bodies. So yeah, very sick individual. We'll go into Victor Salva later in the video. But yes, so he's chasing them, and whenever they're trying to call for help, they're trying to call their parents to come pick them up, because like they're being chased by some guy. Come to find out, the creeper has went to their car. And this woman at the diner said that there's some guy in the backseat of y'all's car, like sniffing your clothes. What? And they go and they see that it was him, and he ends up disappearing. He ends up driving off. And they see, and the cops who showed up there, who didn't believe them at first, see the fingerprints on the doorknob, and there's dry skin on there, like dusty old skin. They sent it back to forensics. Forensics said that the skin that was on the door handle was like several centuries old, long since dead. And they didn't know what that meant. They're like, what? That doesn't make any sense. Well, that's because we don't know what the creeper is. We didn't know that it wasn't a man. Come to find out, now we know for sure it's not a man. It's some supernatural being, because obviously it's centuries old. And it is now on the cop car, on the roof of the cop car, whenever they're driving. It kills the cops. And then it ends up chasing Derry and his sister to this old woman's house where they tried to call the cops, where they tried to call for help again. It didn't work because the creeper followed them there. They end up running him over several times, and whenever they think he's dead, one of his wings busts out of his coat, and it's like, holy shit, now we also see this thing has bat wings, like huge gargoyle wings. This is definitely not what we thought. We thought it was just some crazy psycho driving us off the road. No, this is some demon-looking thing. Well, after they ran it over several times, it now has to regenerate, so it follows them to the police station, where it actually feasts on a couple of inmates, regenerates, and without going too much more into detail, basically it ends up succeeding in capturing Derry, the boy, the girl's brother, and that's how the movie ends. Is that the movie ends where the creeper is in his new lair, and he has now cut out the eyes of Derry and eat them, and now he has Derry's eyes, and that's it. And so, but yes. So, basically, from what we were loosely able to gather in the first film, because Victor Salva wanted to leave it ambiguous. He didn't want to make a sequel, but then was Warner Brothers or whatever talked to him and basically was able to talk him into making a sequel, apparently, which is really stupid when you think about it, because it's like, oh, you wanted to leave this thing just as a singles movie? That's dumb, because we don't even know what the hell this thing is. We could at least, but because all the clues, the woman who's telling them all this stuff, it's not even concrete evidence. Concrete evidence. You know, it's not even like she does not know for sure anything she's telling them. She just knows what she has glimpsed in these visions, where basically, I think it's eaten too many hots for its own to stop. You know why? Because Victor Salva had absolutely no idea what he was doing with this character. He just made a character and literally made it up as he went along, and then that was the end of the movie. And when people wanted a second movie, he had to be talked into it, because basically, in a nutshell, he didn't know what the hell to do with the sequel, because he didn't even know what he was doing in the first film. Because, oh, is it a demon? Is this a demon? I don't know. Is it an alien? I don't know. You made it. How do you not know? Oh, I think he's actually a man who was cursed to be this way. And then you find out, you know, well, hang on, we'll get into that later. We'll come back to this. Second movie. Movie starts. Creeper doesn't have his truck. We don't know where his truck went, why he doesn't have his truck. Me and Michael even talked about it, saying, you know what? Why don't you say that the truck tried to, you know, run the bus off the road and basically cause the bus to get a flat tire that way? Because Victor Salva honestly just didn't think about it. Once again, he didn't think about it. He basically just made a movie and just made it up as he went. Case in point, remember what I said about the creeper having dead skin and being centuries old? That is completely retconned in the second movie. That is completely not a thing. Oh no, he's still several centuries old. That's still a thing. But now his body is, in the words of Victor Salva himself, blacker, darker, and wetter. Why? Because he said he thought it made him look creepier, which in my opinion, not really. I mean, honestly, it was terrifying the way he looked in the first film. But yeah, like the second film, he basically made a scene where this girl was named Minxie, rest in peace to that actress. She had a vision of the creeper, and all she was going to see in the vision was a silhouette of the creeper running through the cornfield. And Victor Salva really liked how he looked in that scene and wanted to see him like that throughout the whole movie. So he made him darker and wet. And once he made him darker, he realized you couldn't see him. Good God. I'm like, and then he said he made him wetter so he could be seen in the dark, like all the light would gleam off of him. And I'm like, now he just looks like he's made of tar. And I'm like, are you trying to make a racist statement here, Victor? Are you? Is that what you're going for here? Is that what you're trying to do? I'm like, 'cause I don't think that's it, but I'm like, just he looks like he's made of oil. You know, like he looks like he's glistening because he jumped in a tar pit. You know, I'm like, it looks ridiculous. And I find it kind of funny how if this isn't a racist thing, then why is he going after? Well, that could be the trope of horror movies in general, trying to make the black guy die first. Which I'll admit, now that I've gotten older, I do get tired of seeing that one trope. Oh, who's going to die first? Gee, we got one black guy in the group. He's going to take it first. But he literally looks like he can handle himself. Why is he... He's the black guy. That's stupid. That's really... In the words of Frieza from Team 4-Star, that's stupid. You're stupid. Stop being stupid. You know. Anyways, back on track here. Jeepers Creepers 2. The creeper is following a bus full of college students coming back from a football game, and like he pops the tire with a shuriken that he did not have in the first movie, but now he's got new tricks. So it's like, okay, this could be kind of cool, you know. Further investigations into the creeper, because at this point we don't know anything about him, which we never will. We never really will. We just have speculations and theories and fan fictions, pretty much for until today still. Anyways, but yeah, he pops the tire, and like ever since, and like basically he plucks off all the adults, which is a little odd when you think about it, because he kills adults, but it's more like and a couple people have drawn attention to this, that the people that he actually goes after and eats and tries to kill are typically either younger or like they're like young adults, like in their 20s, maybe they're teenagers, but and he goes after children. Like the younger the better is what I've heard somebody say. But he's only ever went after one child so far. Thankfully, well, I mean until Jeepers Creepers 3, but you know, Reborn. But we'll get to that. Anyways, but yes, a lot of people have drawn this to Victor Salva being a pedophile, which yes, he is. He is a convicted. He's a convicted pedophile. This is why Jeepers Creepers 3 didn't get off the ground. But anyways, we'll go into that. I keep trying to get back on track here. Okay. He in the beginning of Jeepers Creepers 2, he kills this farmer's boy. He kills his farmer's boy because he basically was hunting during the day, which is a little odd because in the first movie, you know, I mean, yeah, he still technically hunted during the day, so yeah, okay, never mind, scratch that statement then. Anyways, he's after the kid. He's hunting them, and the boy is the one that's got the most fear. He doesn't even go after the Taggarts. He ends up flying off with the boy, and the Taggarts, which is the farmers, are now on a manhunt pretty much for the creeper hunt, and that's the beginning and pretty much the ultimate end of their story. They're just on the hunt for the creeper for killing his son. And now we go to the bus again. The bus has been broke down because it's got a flat tire, and now they're stuck on the side of the road. And the creeper by nightfall ends up plucking off the bus driver, the coaches, so they're gone. Now he's just basically hunting and trying to rile up the teenagers, the football players, the cheerleaders, all of them. He's trying to rile them up, trying to see which one he wants to eat from, which one's fear smells the best. Long story short, after he plucks them off one by one, you know, there's maybe like I think 3 or 4 of them left by the end of it. There's a few of them that managed to actually escape. They kept running. Maybe the creeper got them. We don't know. But yeah, he ends up getting. The Taggarts end up catching up to him, and the Taggarts end up basically killing him. But turns out, no, we didn't kill him because he's at the end of his 23 days. Because what I didn't mention before, which my bad, was the creeper. Every 23 years for 23 days, he gets to eat humans. And once the 23rd day is up, he goes back into hibernation. Well, while the Taggart dad is trying to, you know, stab him to death and kill him, literally as he's stabbing him, he ends up going back into hibernation. So he doesn't quite kill him. So he ends up pinning him up in his barn, and I was about to say bar, but yeah, he ends up pinning it up in his barn, and he's waiting on him. He's waiting on him to wake up so he can shoot him with the harpoon again and kill him again. Like, go right back to killing him. Like, yeah, you may wake up, but I'm going to put you back down. And that's how the movie ends. That's how the second movie ends, where the creeper is pinned up in hibernation and it's all dried up and shriveled up, you know, so if it does wake up, it's going to have, like, probably no strength. And for years, we wanted a third Jeepers Creepers movie. We wanted an ending. We wanted to see the Taggarts shoot the creeper out of the barn. But no, we didn't get that. What we ended up getting was a horribly put together third, not even a third, a horribly put together prequel to the second movie. It's technically a sequel to the first movie and a prequel to the second movie. It literally takes place in between the first and second movie. And I speak for every Jeepers Creepers fan and say, we did not want this shit! What in the fuck is wrong with you? But then whenever you find out all the trouble that it took to get this movie off the ground, you kind of understand. You're still pissed off, but you kind of understand. And what I mean by that is, basically, Victor Salva, what's done in the dark comes to the light. People started finding out that he was a pedophile and basically started jumping ship. They all started leaving the project because they did not want their careers tainted by working with a convicted pedophile who didn't even serve all of his time. I think he served maybe a couple of months, possibly even maybe a year in prison, and then bailed out. So, bailed himself out. So he didn't even serve his full time. If he served his full time, you know, I'd be like, okay, you know what? He hasn't had any, you know, repeat offenses. You know, he served his time. No, he didn't even serve his time. So fuck this guy. And basically, if you want to know what he did, if you've watched my Jeepers Creepers spoof, the first one, you know, it's in there. It's like one of the first jokes I make, where she's like, "What the hell's the matter with you?" and the creeper goes, "Blame my father," and then it cuts to the police report of what actually happened. Basically, he received and gave oral to a minor, I think a 10-year-old or a 12-year-old boy that was on the set of one of his movies. That was actually one of his stars of his movie that he was making, and he recorded himself giving and receiving oral from this child. So yeah, it's, pardon that. Sorry, dog was barking at nobody at the door. Pretty much heard a noise, thought someone was at the door, and my mother was telling me to be quiet. Anyways, yeah. So basically, where was I? Okay, yeah. Jeepers Creepers, basically, in Victor Salva, yeah. Whenever he was making this movie, the third movie, we were supposed to get a movie. First, it was actually called Jeepers Creepers, The Demon Among Us. Then it was changed to Jeepers Creepers Cathedral. And then Jeepers Creepers Cathedral was transformed into Jeepers Creepers 3, which is the final product of what we got. Stupid title. It doesn't make sense with what we were given, because it is not a third movie. It is, okay, correction. It is the third film, but it is not the third part of a story. If anything, it pretty much is a it is a side story it's an insert in between the first and second movie. So technically it could be the second one, and Jeepers Creepers 2 could be the third one. Because basically what happened is they found out what was going on with Victor Salva. They found out about the pedophile thing. A lot of people were jumping ship. A lot of people were also pay disputes and stuff. Victor Salva, seeing that a lot of people were jumping ship, instead of going, you know what, let's just make the third movie as best we can. Let's just change a couple things and make the best we can. Let's just make this movie for the best we can, because I don't know if I'm going to even have a career after this. I might, instead of doing that, playing it smart and go into hiding for a while because people were, being a pedophile and stuff like that, and didn't want him behind in the director's chair. He decides to double down. He decides to start telling people, "Oh well, let's make this into a franchise. Yeah, Jeepers Creepers 3. Forget that. I'm talking Jeepers Creepers TV series, man." And people on set, like, I heard all about this back in 2017 when the third movie came out. I heard all about like the trouble that was on there. Like, a lot of people were saying, "Oh yeah, it's like, dude, Victor, we can barely even make this movie. The movie's not even finished yet. You're wanting to talk about series? Dude, you're lucky if we even get this movie finished, and you're lucky if we get it off the ground, and you're lucky if we even get it finished, period." And he wasn't having it. He's like, "Well, maybe we should also do a prequel series that basically is like a side story. Like, maybe we can end the series, sure, but then what if we do a reboot? Yeah, let's do a reboot. Because, yeah, that's what we're talking about. Yeah, let's do a prequel. Like, let's start from scratch." And it's like, and they're like, "Vic, oh my God, you idiot, you moron." And I don't hear too many people talk about this, like Critical Overlord, which he's another reviewer who does a lot of reviews of Jeepers Creepers, Scream, and horror movies in general. He does a lot of that stuff. He talks a lot about Jeepers Creepers and like stuff. He's got a lot of information on his channel, so plug, there you go. I'll leave a little description. I'll leave a little link here at the top of the screen for you to go check out his channel. Because he does get more. He does have the accessibility of getting more information than I do, but that's okay. We disagree on a couple of the fan theories, but that's a given with anybody. But anyways, yeah, basically, so we ended up getting this movie where Victor Salva basically said, "Okay, I want to just put a whole bunch of shit in this movie because I didn't get the budget because a lot of people were pulling from the project, so I didn't get to make the budget of Jeepers Creepers Cathedral like I wanted to. Money's not basically on my side, so you know what? I'm gonna make do. I'm gonna make up for that. So I'm gonna make a whole bunch of things up, and that won't make any sense. That's gonna cause a lot of plot holes. It's gonna cause a lot of continuity errors. But fuck it, we're gonna put it in the movie anyway. Case in point. Why is the creeper black? Not African American. No. I mean, first of all, if you were gonna fix anything, you should have explained why in one movie he's this pasty, chalky, greenish, grayish color, in the first movie, and then by the second movie, he's all lubed up. You know, like he came fresh out of a tar pit, or maybe he was rehatched out of an egg or something, and the yolks was black or ooze or blood colored, and you know, in certain lightings you could tell it's like a brown or something. And, you know, explain that, because why does he look? And even in the prequel, even in Jeepers Creepers 3, he doesn't look like he did in the second movie. In the second movie, he's all lubed up, like looks like basically they took him, dipped him in oil, and he's all shiny and slimy looking. But yeah, in this one, he looks like he's a mix. He looks like he's basically the creeper from the second movie, but he's not as lubricated. Like, he's smooth. Like, he's got a lot. He looks more rubbery than anything. Like, he looks very like smooth rubber. His cheeks are not jowl like anymore. They're not like all wrinkly like they were in the first movie, where he looked like a goblin sort of. Basically, the on screen right now, the picture of the creeper looking off in the distance right here on the right side of the screen, right above where it says behind the scenes. That's how he looked in the first movie, which, in my opinion, is the best creeper. But yeah, in the second and the third movie, they turned him darker and wetter. But in the third movie, he just looks like he's wearing brownish, blackish latex. And I remember seeing that on Google Images back whenever I was in high school. I had saw pictures of like the leaked images of like that were like leaked online and stuff. And I had one thing the one thing that I didn't like that they gave him a shirt. They gave him a red shirt to wear, and I'm like, because it's starting to be apparent that Victor Salva was very heavily inspired by Freddy Krueger with this character, because you got this sick, perverted character that was made up by a pedophile. What are the odds? But you got this sick, perverted character who feasts on your fear. Sound familiar? And now he's wearing a red shirt? Sound familiar? You know? So even though it's not red and black striped, it's or red and green striped, depending on which one you're looking at. But yeah, it's just a red, torn, tattered shirt. But I'm like, the creeper didn't wear a shirt. If he did wear a shirt, it was like a dark black, brown, beige. It was very dirty looking, which that's the first movie. And heck, even in the second movie, in the second movie, he doesn't have a shirt at all. Well, no, correction, he did have a shirt for a second, but then he tears it off. So because he let's go back a bit. In the second movie, he gets a pole shoved in through his eye. So whenever he tears the pole out of his head, now his head is damaged. So he tears his head off, rips this kid's head off, and eats it with his old head. Well, but he doesn't tear. Okay, before he tears his old head off, he eats the new head, then tears his old head off, and then the new head basically grows out of the neck, and it turns into the creeper's new head. So there you go. But so whenever he tore his shirt off, that was to give you the visual of the head coming up from his stomach, you know, pretty much, and so it can come up out of his neck and, you know, turn into the new creeper head. Anyway, yeah, I mean, I just don't get it. The third movie also, what they brought up was the fact of, oh well, this is where basically the sequel kind of comes into play. The movie begins with, okay, in the first movie, the movie ends with the creeper flying out the window with Derry, and he flies all the way to his new lair and kills Derry. Now, this Jeepers Creepers 3 would have you believe that, oh no, the creeper... continuity error to the nth degree. The creeper flew out the window, found his clothes, grabbed his clothes, put them all back on, wrapped Derry up in a bag. Actually, they don't even say that. Basically, you're led to believe that the creeper flew all the way back to his lair, dropped Derry off, or knocked Derry out, or you don't know what happened. This is where, because he flew off and he was butt naked because he tore off all of his clothes, you know, which he doesn't have a penis and balls, so you ain't gotta worry about nothing nowhere. But yeah, he looks like a demon, whatever. Anyways, But yeah, he flew out the window with Derry, flew all the way back to his lair, and killed him. The movie even ends with the creeper still, with no clothes, no hat, no cloak, no nothing, after he's killed Derry and eaten his eyes. Now, with that being said, the third movie begins where basically, oh, look, there's the creeper's van. Oh, it flew off out the window about like a few minutes ago. And then, like, literally, the creeper is right back there. The creeper ends up stealing his truck back. They tried to get the truck impounded. And the creeper ends up coming back. He's now fully clothed again. He ends up stealing his truck back. And I'm like, what? So basically, you mean to tell me that the creeper flew all the way back to his lair naked with Derry, killed him, ate his eyes, and then flew back in record time with new clothes and stole his truck? What? And it's just, oh man, it's stupid. Oh, and also now the creeper truck can do a bunch of stuff that it couldn't do in the first movie, but basically Victor Salva's saying, oh, well, he didn't have a need to do it in the first movie. Oh, no? You mean to tell me that the creeper couldn't have used maybe, okay, here's what it can do now. The creeper truck can now shoot a harpoon out of the tailpipe, which my only reasoning for that is that it's a reference to the second movie. A harpoon, basically, and it even has the damn creeper knife that the Taggart farmers, that they actually fastened one of his daggers to a iron pole so that it would be like a homing beacon for him, because like basically he was trying, it was linked to him, so it would like fly back to him, kind of like the Force or Thor's hammer. So it'd be like a homing beacon to him because it was drawn to him or something like that. Anyways. But yeah, now the truck can shoot a harpoon with a dagger at the end of it and a chain to reel in people, basically, via the tailpipe, which I don't even know how those mechanics work, but okay. Also, it can drop rolling bombs like Mario Kart, which, yes, if you've seen Jeepers Creepers 3 spoof on Leowolf TV, then yes, you know what I'm talking about. Anyways, yeah, it can drop rolling bombs, it could drop fucking Mario Kart like bombs in the fucking road. I mean, so he couldn't have used that against Derry and his sister whenever he was trying to run them off the road. Like, why didn't he do that? He could have just done that and plucked them off. Like, yeah, so that doesn't make any fucking sense. And then if you somehow manage to try to go into the creeper's truck via the back doors, as soon as you try to open the back doors and walk inside, there's a motion sensor in this old rickety truck now. There's a motion sensor where if you barely even come close with the sensor, these bars close like teeth, pretty much. They close down and they chop up, they cut off whatever tried to get in the truck or get out the truck. And if you try to crawl in between the seats of the truck, if you try to crawl in between those seats, a pole comes out from in between the seats and runs you through. Like if you're trying to crawl up in between it, there's a pole that literally will shoot out one side of the passenger seat to the driver's seat, and vice versa, and it will impale you if you try to crawl in between the seats. And I'm like, wow, these things are very context sensitive, pretty much, I guess. Like, the only way you gotta worry about this thing is if you crawl in between the seats. Okay. The only reason why you gotta worry about these bars is if you try to go through the back or come out through the back. Okay. What about the front door? No booby traps there that we know of. They never say anything about that. And I'm like, oh, okay, that's kind of dumb. Yeah, and it's like basically if you try to run away from the truck after trying to walk up to it or something like that, the truck is automatically sensitive, so it shoots a harpoon out of its ass. Yeah, so, oh, God in heaven. Okay, also, moving on from the truck, there is a part that I do kind of like. Michael brought up a good point that, yes, this makes a lot of sense, that, say the creeper got his hand cut off, which it did in the third movie. You don't see that, but basically there's this woman who, the creeper flew off with her son and killed him, and the ghost comes back and shows her this severed hand of the creeper, and whenever she touches it, it immediately starts shooting visions through her head of all the victims of the creeper. You don't know what it actually shows you. You just see somebody convulsing, holding the hand, and basically now they got all the information about the creeper. Maybe not all the information. They never say. Oh man, like I said, this movie was trouble. Like it was trouble shooting it and stuff. It had a trouble production. Yeah, they never explain what exactly they see whenever they touch the hand. They just now all of a sudden know how to stop it and know more about the creeper, but they don't explain what they know. They just literally say, "I now know what we gotta do," or "I know more about it now." What do you know? Not gonna tell. What? They don't really explain that. So because it was left up in the air. Because, like I said, once again, Victor Salva's making this shit up as he goes. Because in his mind, in the commentary of the second film, he did not want to call it a demon. He's like, I don't believe it's a religious figure. I don't believe it's a religious demon or anything like that. I don't think it's an alien. I don't think it's a magical creature by any means. I think he's a man who was cursed to be this way with this insatiable lust for flesh. And I'm like, did I just hear that from the pedophile? And I've heard people. Now Michael kind of disagrees with this, which I don't. I don't disagree with this only because I'm like, to me it kind of makes a lot of sense when you explain it this way. Basically, say that, okay, Victor Salva, he's a pedophile, and basically he wants to. What does a lot of artists creators do? They try to get a lot of their either sometimes their feelings come out in their art, life imitating art, or art imitating life, that sort of thing. Basically, it's kind of like what happens whenever you have your politics kind of come into, like, say you're writing a spoof like I do. Say you make a spoof out of nowhere, left field, you got a political statement or a political joke, that you made in there because you want to make your stand, somewhere, and it's like all of a sudden you're like, as a viewer, you're like, what the fuck? It's very telling of the artist or the creator in question as to what their mindset is whenever they do something like that. And in this case, this pedophile makes a character who basically gets off on the fact of scaring people, riling them up, and he smells their fear, and by smelling their fear, he can sense what body part he can taste, like what part he wants. Now, if he needs to regenerate something, then yeah, he'll just cut off your arm and eat it, and he'll regrow his arm. But he really gets off on the fact of like, oh, I'm going to get you all worked up. I'm going to get you all hot and bothered and scared. And now that you're all scared and hot and bothered, now you're perfectly seasoned and, oh, your heart smells the best right now, so I'll eat it. And like also he, like he even licks the face of a Jennifer, of Jennifer, Derry's sister. He like licks her face to see if she tastes good, and he also sniffs you to see if he could smell your fear. And I'm like, when you tell me that a convicted pedophile wrote this, it's like, and then he says his explanation for the creeper is he believes that it's a man who was cursed with this insatiable lust for flesh, and basically all the other stuff is just window dressing kind of deal. Like, yeah, he's got wings, yes, he looks like a demon, but that's neither here or there. The real story is he's a corrupted, tortured soul who was cursed to be this way. It's not his fault. And I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? And honestly, it sounds exactly like he made this thing for therapy. He made this creeper for therapy. Like, oh, this is what I would do if I was a killer. If I was a killer, I would do it like this. And hey, how sick would it be if he smelled their fear? Oh, wouldn't that be hot and bothersome? Oh yeah, and oh, let's have him have a fetish for sewing sewing the bodies back together and making like a tapestry all over the wall of their naked bodies, and let him glaze them in some sort of chemical to preserve their bodies so they never rot, and also make sure they're naked so he can always look at them. And I'm like, you really need help. You need Jesus. You need help. You need weed. You need something, boo boo. I'm like, yeah, something's up with you, man. I'm like, just, I mean, I'm just saying, it's kind of telling. Like, it's very telling right now with your stuff, you know? I mean, like, also, Jeepers Creepers 3, yeah, it ends up ending where they stole his truck because they're basically trying to make up for the second movie where they're like, okay, look, we know we fucked up and didn't put the truck in the second movie at all, and we never addressed where the fuck it is. So now we're gonna explain ourselves by saying, these people who banded together, they're family members of the victims that the creeper has killed. So they're all banded together and made this creeper squad who are on the hunt for him to learn everything about him so they can hunt him down and kill him, which sounds really cool. And I'll go into Jeepers Creepers Cathedral. I'll go into that, the original script. I'll go into that later. This is gonna be a lengthy video, guys. Sorry, but yeah, it's a lot to talk about. But yeah, okay. They all banded together. They stole his truck, and they're like, "We know what you are." And the creeper freaks out, gets pissed, you know, and that's why he's on foot in the second movie. Okay, my question is now, if that's your excuse for why the truck wasn't in the second movie, here's another question. Where the fuck was the squad in the second movie? Why was Jennifer not there? No, Trish Jenner. That's who I was getting her name messed up. Trisha is the sister of Derry. My bad. Trisha. Why was she and the squad not in the second movie if that's what you did? Oh, well, could it be the fact that that was not your original plan with the squad and Trisha and all them? Maybe that's the second movie was just you just made up a whole bunch of shit as you went along and then just said, well, I don't know. And then whenever somebody finally talked you into making a third movie, you got too big for your britches and fucked up the third plot? Could that be it? Yeah, I think so. Because basically, oh yeah, the third movie ends with Trisha looking at the camera going, "Come and get me, you son of a bitch." Like, so she's been tracking the creeper down. She's a wealthy woman. She's wanting to team up with the Taggarts and stuff, because now her scene that she's in Jeepers Creepers 3, her scene now takes place after the second movie. I kind of see where Jeepers Creepers Reborn got their idea of how to filmmake, because wow, very confusing. Because 1 minute it's a prequel, 1 minute it's a sequel, 1 minute it's a prequel, 1 minute it's a sequel, 1 minute it's a prequel. Just anyways, okay. Jeepers Creepers 3. I'll go into Reborn. We'll get into that. But Jeepers Creepers 3 Cathedral, the original script for the third movie, was to play out like this. In short, I'm going to try to keep it condensed, because basically you can go look up right now the script and read it yourself online. I've actually been thinking about maybe actually reading the script for y'all and having a video of somebody actually reading the script and acting out the script, or at least just reading the script as like a read aloud. Maybe I'll do that. I don't know. Y'all let me know what y'all think. Should I do something like that? Because that'd be kind of fun. If you're a Jeepers Creepers fan, that could be fun. Jeepers Creepers 3 Cathedral was basically gonna be the actual continuation from the second movie. It wasn't gonna be a prequel. It was gonna be a straight up sequel. We were gonna continue, and what was gonna happen was the Taggarts was going to shoot the creeper again, because on the 23rd day, whenever the old man, the Taggart dad who had the harpoon gun in the second movie, he's now old and stuff, but he's been sitting there waiting to kill him, and he could have swore he saw it move, so he shot the harpoon gun, and the creeper didn't move after that. Didn't screech, didn't holler, didn't do anything. Well, the son comes in there, and he's like, "What's going on? What's happened?" And he's like, "I swear I saw it move." And they go to pull the spear out, and they see nothing but dust come pouring out of the creeper. You know, nothing but dust pours out, and they're like, "Well, what?" And they realize that it's just a dried up, decayed husk, and they realize that basically what they've been having pinned up on the wall was actually not the creeper at all. It was actually just a shell, an outer shell, because apparently what happened was, from what you can assume, the creeper, whenever he said he thought it moved, basically the creeper's larva state, possibly, perhaps, maybe its fetus state, basically crawled out through like the back of the creeper and through a crack in the wall, and that's what he saw kind of move. Because basically it's nothing but it's a husk, it's a shell. It's not there's no more creeper there. Um, and basically now the creeper is loose. They don't know where it is. They don't know how to. They're trying to find it, and the Taggarts team up with the Creeper Squad, who they meet for the first time, and the Creeper Squad explains that they're family members of the victims of the Creeper. They've been trying to learn everything about it. They have been being funded by the same person who's been funding the Taggart barn. You know, who's been trying to send them money and stuff in support, which is Trisha. And she's been having this vision that the creeper's going to come after her son, who she named after her brother that the creeper took. So there's now the movie has become basically the creeper is trying to revive himself. You know, he's regenerating slowly. He's feeding again, and they're following all the victims. They're tracking it on a radio, and they end up coming across this old church, this old cathedral, where they come to find all the encryptions, all the lore. They end up somehow managing to track down the origins of the creeper, and there they find out how to kill him. And long story short, they end up killing the creeper. And you heard me mention that, okay, I think Victor Salva was inspired by Freddy Krueger. Here's what I mean. The creeper, how they say in the script, is basically the only way that the creeper can truly die is if everybody overcomes their fear of him and forgets him, stops thinking about him, stops remembering the fear, because basically he was able to come back if everybody feared him. But if everyone forgot about him, then he couldn't come back after you kill him. And apparently how you had to kill him was you had to burn the body. And basically what they end up doing is these two of the Creeper Squad guys, long story short, they end up basically shoving a C4 down the creeper's throat. And whenever the creeper starts trying to pull, because it was like he bit off this guy's arm, but the arm itself had a C4 in it. Creeper starts trying to pull the arm out, but the other guy, like, he ends up like hitting the detonator, and it blows the creeper to hell. You know, explodes him into a million pieces, and they basically burn the body. From what I remember, now I don't remember if this is exactly what happens at the very last second. Now the C4 and him blowing up, yes, that's in the script, but I don't remember what happens next. I can't remember right now. But yeah, I think that from what I remember is basically they said like they end up burning the body, and they had to basically kill their fear and overcome their fear of the creeper for him to stay dead, which sounds exactly like Freddy Krueger. The only way to properly defeat Freddy Krueger is if you forget him. Wow. Rip off. Just and Victor Salva said he didn't want him to be a demon because he thought that'd be kind of lame, and he didn't want him to be religious. And I'm like, dude, it doesn't have to be fucking religious. You can make it a freaking monster demon and it not be, you know, heaven and hell, like Judgment Day. You know, like it doesn't have to be that to be revolved in the story. You know, it could just be a fucking demon trying to kill people. Now, let's move on to you already know how Jeepers Creepers 3 was going to end originally. Now we're going to move on to we all wanted Jeepers Creepers 4 to be a sequel where we finally get the definitive end. What we got was not what we wanted. We got a movie that was a prequel / sequel / reboot to Jeepers Creepers series in general. Now, what I mean by that is basically this is a complete and utter reboot of the story, and what they're saying is that the first 3 movies are actually in this movie, in the realm of Jeepers Creepers 3, in the realm of Jeepers Creepers Reborn, that basically Jeepers Creepers 1, 2, and 3 are actually fictional movies that were based off the real Creeper legend in Jeepers Creepers Reborn. That's what they're saying. So they're saying that Derry and all them are fictional characters in a fictional movie series that was based on a real legendary monster called the Creeper. Wow, way to give us a middle finger. I mean, like, why don't you just put it on our face so it could be a little bit more obvious? Oh, and even more so, hey, you wanted the creeper to finally to escape the Taggart barn, and you wanted to see that for years, ever since the second movie, right? Yeah. Oh, well, guess what? We're gonna give you that. Really? No. We're actually going to technically give you that by having the creeper crawl out of a barn and crawl and literally be crawling past a destroyed homemade harpoon gun that doesn't that it's like a homemade, it's a destroyed homemade harpoon gun that you have no idea what that's from or what that's for. It doesn't give you any context, but that's just an Easter egg pretty much, just to go, hey, remember that was in the second movie. It has nothing to do with this series, but yeah, it has nothing to do with this new series we're making. But yeah, they remember that. Does that piss you off? Yes. Good. Well, the creeper basically crawls out of a barn from hibernation, and now he looks like he's got chunky peanut butter all over his face instead of spikes and like a fin wrapped around his head and stuff. Now it's like we just basically just warped it, and he looks like a regular guy that with a derpy face, looking like he's should wear a dunce cap for the rest of his life because he just looks like durr, like he just looks stupid and goofy now. Hence why in my spoof I made him sound like he's derpy, and it doofy, whatever. But yes, Uh, in here, from what I can grasp, because I've tried to watch it again and I'm still lost. I think the rest of the world is too. You know, it's bad when not a single review said this movie was good, when the entire freaking world said this was horrible. And from what I've been able to gather from Critical Overlord in his latest videos as of this recording, it sounds like the people who made this movie are just making them and just shitting them out as much as they can for a cash grab and an insurance thing kind of thing. That's what it's starting to seem. That's what it sounds like that he's been talking about in his latest videos. It sounds like the guys who made it, the people who made this movie, Jeepers Creepers Reborn, just basically threw a whole bunch of stuff together, crapped it out as soon as possible just so they can get a paycheck. Pretty much, they didn't care if it made sense. They didn't care. In a way, they're very much like Victor Salva, whereas he was making stuff up as he went along and not explaining why or when he was able to do this or how he's able to do this. This is basically now just making stuff up and just putting things randomly in places. There's a vision that the girl has of her in a witch's ceremony where like they're doing some sort of like ritual around her, and she's having this vision as if it's happened a couple of hours ago or maybe a couple minutes ago, but you don't see this ever in the movie. There's not even indications that they kidnapped her and did this ritual first and then the creeper got her. No, there's not any indications of that. Literally, she's having a vision and pretending it's happened, but according to the movie and how it's being told, this is a vision that she's having that hasn't even happened yet. But the movie tries to play it off like, yes, it has happened, but no, we've watched the movie and this never happened. There's never an instance where she was kidnapped or stolen away by these witches. None of this has happened. What are you doing? And there's like a scene where the creeper doesn't like his music being disturbed. He plays Jeepers Creepers, like a horrible non-copyright version where it just keeps skipping on itself just so they can get a copyright for it. It just keeps going, Jeepers Creepers, where'd you get those people? Jeepers Creepers, Jeepers. Like, this keeps doing like that, and that was just to avoid copyright, basically. Yeah, and fast forward, Creeper gets killed by a weather vane off the top of this church. It impales him through his mouth. And the crows, which, by the way, there's a white crow, but I didn't mention it because the movie doesn't mention why it's important ever. It just, maybe it's the leader of the crows, but the movie doesn't take it seriously. The other crows don't treat it like it's the leader, so there's really no point to this thing. You would think that this white crow is the creeper's eyes in the sky, but the movie doesn't present it that way at all. It just has a white crow that happens to be around the creeper at times, but he never uses it as his eye in the sky. Like, you never see like from the bird's perspective, and that's what the creeper sees. Like, you never see that. It's just Here's a white crow. Literally, is how the movie is. Just basically, that should be the gist of the whole movie. Jeepers Creepers Reborn. Here's the summary. Just somebody shrugging their shoulders. Wing it. It's called Jeepers Creepers Reborn, which you have no idea what it is or what is it talking about. Like, oh, is this like a fancy term of Jeepers Creepers reboot? Is what you're trying to say? Because that would make a little bit more sense. But no, Reborn, because he's gonna. We don't know if he's going to possess. If he's going to possess this girl's Lane, if he's going to possess her baby that she's pregnant with, because once he dies, Lane's eyes glow black, so you think that maybe he possessed her, but then right before the credits roll, you see, oh, by the way, the creeper dies in this movie, and the crows come and pick his body apart like Professor Screw Eyes and We're Back, a Dinosaur Story, where basically all the crows cover his body, then they all disperse, and the creeper's body's gone, only for them all to come back and basically puke up the remains of him on this slab, and he just roars at the movie ends with him roaring at the screen, looking like a 7-foot tall fetus, pretty much, of the creeper. And I'm like, okay, well, if he was reborn or regurgitated by the crows, what is the significance of Lane having black eyes and supposedly being possessed? And what is the point of her baby being? Did I miss something? Yeah, it's a headache. So yeah, I even make a joke at the end of Jeepers Creepers Reborn spoof, where during the credits, you hear the Rat King song from Nutcracker 3D, where he goes, "They had their chance, but you just couldn't do it. Ran it all so badly that you blew it." You know, and then I cut to Adam Sandler, "But it all was bullshit," which makes so much sense after you watch that movie. If you watch the first 3 movies and then you watch Reborn, that's it in a nutshell. It was all just bullshit. And then like I end the credits with him going, "I hope you're glad with what you've done to me." You know, I'm like, which is just perfect. And one of my favorite bits is right before the credits completely end, you see the Rat King from Nutcracker 3D again going, "And the lights go out, Jeepers Creepers 3. The lights go out, Reborn. And before he could say it again, like the creeper from Reborn goes, "Wait a minute, what about my sequel? The lights go out!" And he like shoves like this light bulb in the shark tank, you know, basically symbolically killing off this franchise. Like just take it behind the barn, kill it, it's over. I even also do another gag where basically it's like whenever the creeper is hopping in the tall weeds from the second movie, whenever only got one leg and one arm, and his wing is broke, so he's kind of just jumping and convulsing really high up to get closer to this to his next victim. He's only hopping. It's like first it's like he jumps up. It's Jeepers Creepers 1. "I believe I can fly." Falls down. Jeepers Creepers 2. "I believe I can touch the sky." And then Jeepers Creepers 3. "I think about it every night and day." And then Jeepers Creepers Reborn. "Spread my wings," and all of a sudden they shoot him with the harpoon. "Spread my wings," and ow! "Okay, fine, you win. I give up." I'm like, yeah, dude, stop trying. Shit. You were good with the first one. The second one was a little goofier and meh. It was passable. The ending justified it. Basically, we wanted Taggart to win, and technically he kind of did, and technically he kind of didn't. The third movie was garbage, but Jeepers Creepers Reborn totally makes me want to go to Jeepers Creepers 3 and go, you know what? I'm sorry, you tried. Let me give you a hug, at least a hug. Here you go, pat on the back. You tried. All right. Okay, now, what we want, what me and Michael said will be a good idea, and I told him this. I said, I'm like, you know what would be cool is if the creeper finally dies. The original creeper finally gets his definitive ending. Let's say Trisha is the one to kill him, because let's say it's Trisha and the Taggart dad, you know, the farmer who lost his son. Let's say it's both him and Trisha, because that's the ones that we're mostly invested in out of all the victims. Let's say it's him and her both kill the creeper. They hit the definitive blow, and they finally kill this motherfucker. It's over. It's done with. Body count tally, last call, move on, 3D finale, like that kind of deal. Sorry, dork. Anyway, but yes, let's say they kill him. Okay, well, what if there's a swerve, and what if the creeper had a mate, like in another town, like in another area somewhere, like say he took over this area, and basically like he had a mate, like it's a female creeper, but whereas this creeper feasted on the fear of people and would get them all riled up to get, basically he had to get them riled up to where he could, and very scared, so he could eat the favorite body, like he could eat the best body part of them. What if the female creeper is like a succubus, sort of? Not a succubus, but what if she basically feasts off your lust? What if she really looks like a female, and like basically like from distance, like she gets them all hot and bothered? Like what if she can mimic a woman's voice, kind of like a parrot, because the creeper in the first and second movie was actually originally going to be able to mimic voices to lure in prey. He was going to be able to mimic the voices. And in the first movie, he was actually originally going to talk, but then after they did it, they're like, yeah, you know what? Let's cut it. No, we're not going to have you talk. That's a bad idea. No. That just don't sound right. You don't sound as scary with the voice, and two, it's just, if we're gonna make you talk, we'll have you talk later. That would be more epic if you talk later, because that'd be like, whoa, he could talk. Oh my god. And so there's even a deleted scene in the second one where it's just a storyboard art of the creeper using the dead body of the coach and mimicking his voice to lure in the football team so he can kill him. Now, what if the female creeper basically gets you all hot and bothered and lustful, be it girl, guy, whatever, basically like she feeds off, like she gets you, like when you're all hot and bothered, I say that again, you're all hot and bothered and you're all hornied up. Oh man, hang on, I'm having a stroke. You're basically all hot and bothered, and you're basically, your blood is all boiling, it's all warm, you're all hot blooded now. You're hot and ready. Literally, you're hot and ready. And that's when she could decide what body parts she wants. Like in a way, maybe, I haven't really seen Jennifer's body all the way through, but maybe like Jennifer's body. And let's say once she gets you all hot and bothered and ready, and now she's ready to eat, that's when her true form really starts to show. Like, say, like you start, her jowls, like the creeper jowls, like the cheeks of the creeper, like are slowly revealed. Her teeth grow to show they're sharpened. She gets like the demonic eyes. Maybe she's got like the head fin too, that opens up and spreads out, and her wings grow too. She's got claws. Basically like she appears a little bit more human-like to everybody at first, but then like whenever she gets all hot and bothered, that's whenever her true form shows, kind of deal. Think about it like Wishmaster, sort of, because the creeper and Wishmaster kind of look similar. Wishmaster being the djinn, they honestly do kind of almost favor to a degree. They almost look a little similar in the face. Anyway, at least Wishmaster 2, not the first one. But yes, I think it'd be cool because if it's a female creeper, now it's a new creeper. This new team can say, okay, the old creeper's dead. Victor Salva's story is dead. This is our version. We completely have the reins. Victor Salva has absolutely no ties on it. We're not even going to call it Jeepers Creepers no more. We're going to call it something else, but we're going to basically say, yes, this is connected to the Jeepers Creepers verse. Think about it like that movie Split, where it's also connected to that movie Unbreakable with Bruce Willis, I believe, or Glass, whatever it's called. Like those movies are completely two different movies, and you don't really know that they're connected until like somebody points it out to you, or the movies actually address it. It's like, whoa, these movies are connected. Whoa, that's what we could do with this. So yeah, because basically Victor Salva, he messed up because the problem with the creeper, and I think I've said this before in a previous video, but the problem is we don't even know what it is. Pretty much. That's A lot of people say, well, that's part of the fear factor of the monster. That's the best part, is that we don't know what it is. We don't know how to kill it. Yes, but every single movie, monster, killer, whatever, you always learn what the origins are. You always learn how to kill it, how to hurt it, what its origins are. You always learn about it. Ghostface is still at large, like the character is still at large, but we all knew who it was by the end of the first movie. Then we know who it was by the end of the second movie. By the end of the third movie, it's different killers, it's different people. Michael Myers, basically we had a whole bunch of movies saying what he was. Now we got Halloween Ends, where basically he's just a mortal man, pretty much. Um, but bullshit. But anyways, Freddy Krueger, like, yeah, he's a supernatural deity. You kind of got a little bit of an idea of what he is in the first movie, but then as the movies progressed, they dived more into the lore to explain him a bit more and how he works and how they hurt him and stuff. They didn't leave it up in the air, because when you do that too much, people lose interest. Because here's the thing, it's like playing with your friend as a kid, and you're playing, like, say, Power Rangers. You're pretending you're superheroes. Oh, I'm Superman. Okay, well, I'm super duper mega godly man. It's like, what? Yeah, that's right. I can't be hurt. I can't be hurt. I can't be killed. I can't be harmed. Nothing can penetrate me. Oh yeah? What if I get this gun that kills gods? Nope, doesn't hurt me. Doesn't hurt me. I said nothing hurts me. It's that kind of kid. Like, and that's what the creeper basically became. He went from being this monster with potential, with this potential great, destiny of being like one of the best freaking movie monsters ever. And to some people, he still is, at least in the first two movies. But it's like the fact that nothing can really hurt this damn thing, and literally we still don't have definitive information that basically says that yes, it can be hurt, yes, it can be killed. Because, oh sure, yeah, you can cut its arm off, but all it's got to do is eat a human arm, and it grows it right back. No big deal. Okay, how do we keep it down? You can't. What? Okay, there's got to be some way. No, you can't. Well, you can wait till it goes back into hibernation for 23 years. No, it's not enough. That's not good enough. And that doesn't make any fucking sense. You know? And it's like, I'm like, I don't know. It just, it ruins the lore when basically nothing can really kill this monster. And literally whenever you try to pinpoint something about it, like, oh, it must be a demon, it gets shot down by the creator because he doesn't want to be religious. Basically, he doesn't want people. It sounds, when you watch the interviews, in the first movie, it sounds like he's sucking his own. I'm not gonna lie, because he's so full of himself. He's bringing up everything that he did in the movie, and he plays it off. And the way he words it in the audio commentary during the movie it sounds like he's literally kissing up to his own self. Like, oh, this was so amazing. I thought this was so creative. Oh, it's so great. Isn't that so cool? I mean, yeah, I thought that would be so amazing. It's just him talking, and I'm like, shouldn't we get, commentary from the actors or something? No, it's just him talking, blowing smoke, and, like, basically flaunting and flexing about, like, all the great things he did in the movie and everything, and how great he is, and how, I'm like, and in the second movie, the commentary he did was basically, he basically just explained that every time somebody had, in the words of the legendary late great Roddy Piper, just when you think you've got all the answers, we change the questions. I'm like, because it's pretty much exactly, and that's no fun, because then it's an endless game. No one wants to play, and if it's impossible to win, no one's gonna want to play, because there's no point, because no one's gonna win. Basically, it's like no one's gonna lose either. What's the point of, if you can't win, you can't lose. What is the point of playing? So with the creeper, it's the same thing. It's like we don't know what it is. Every time we started to understand what it was in the first movie, second movie comes out, now he looks different. Now the truck is gone. We don't know what that is. Derry is a cameo in the second movie, but he doesn't explain anything other than, oh, every 23 years for 23 days it gets to eat. Eat what? Eat us. Oh, big deal. That's it? Okay, bye, Derry. Bye, Ghost Dairy. I'm like, okay. We have this girl has a vision where she's able to tell, like, oh, every 23 days. Okay, we know that by now, but what else? I don't know. Because Victor Salva was making this shit up as he goes, and every time that you think you start to figure out, he did not like that because he didn't want his character to be predictable. He didn't want you to be able to figure it out. He wanted to leave it a mystery, which a part of it could be cool as a mystery, but no, eventually you gotta freaking end this damn thing. But he didn't want to end it that way. But the problem with that was he left it open. He left it so open that basically, according to Victor Salva, not according to Victor Salva, but according to me, Victor Salva is saying that basically the creeper, like I said, according to me, this is how I see Victor Salva's explanation of the creeper. If he wanted to just say the creeper could come glitter and shoot lightning rainbows out of his ass, he could do that because we don't know anything about the creeper, so how do we know he couldn't do that? And like I said, it's like playing against your friend who wants to be the most overpowered character, who wants to be the most broken character, and then sits there and go, aren't we having fun? No, we're not, because we can't even play. It's like, I want to fight you, but it's like all I'm going to do is lose, and there's no point in fighting you because I'm just gonna lose every single time because you've got the answer to everything. You're too powerful. There's no point in trying to fight you. I mean, there's just no point. Oh, come on! But it basically they want to keep playing because it's fun. Y'all are my toys, but yet it's I'm having fun, so we should keep playing. It's like, well, no, sorry, dude, we don't want to. Same thing with the creeper. It's like we don't know anything about him. The fact that he's so ambiguous that basically not ambiguous. The fact that he's so mysterious that we don't know what he can do and what he can't do. Hell, he could have a fucking tail. Like, he can grow a tail out of nowhere that has a scorpion stinger at the end of it. And say whenever he stings you, you become a zombie, or something like that. We could say that happens, and how do we know the creeper couldn't do that? Maybe he can do that. And it's like, well, what the fuck is he? Is he a demon? No. Was he an alien? No. Okay, so is that crab thing on the back of his head, is that actually a parasite? No, I think he's just a man who was cursed. Okay, well, in that case, that's kind of lame because now you're basically making him a tool. Because if he was cursed, that means somebody made him this way. And then you gotta explain, why did they make him this way? Was it a witch that he tried to bang and he spurned her? And he banged her and then he spurned her, so now she cursed him, and that's why he's like that. Well, then you're sympathetic to the witch who cursed him, and basically you're saying that's good for this guy who got cursed this way. But now it's like, well, how do we kill him? Why would she curse him to be this way? Like, if she cursed him to be this way and hunt down his people, and according to Jeepers Creepers Reborn, technically, it's starting to look like maybe that's where it's building up to, is that this cult is basically the ones that send the creeper out to kill people. That's one direction it could be taken in. And I'm like, this is what happens when you have a toy that basically can do anything and everything. It's not grounded in anything, so you can make it do anything. Basically, you can make this thing turn into King Ghidorah, from Godzilla. Hell, he could become Godzilla. Hell, he could turn into Godzilla and Kong and fight each other in the middle of the movie, and we couldn't dispute it because we don't know anything about the movie. How do we know it can't do this? That's the problem with the creeper. Bottom line, in my opinion, Jeepers Creepers 1 was fun. It had some comedic things in there that made it a little silly, and once you watch my spoof, you'll see what I'm talking about. But yeah, Jeepers Creepers 2, I think they leaned a little bit too much into the goofy aspects. Like, they had him be a little too silly. Like, there's like a scene where he's hanging upside down in the back window of the bus, and he's eyeballing all the ones that he wants. First, he looks at one of them, and he grins at him, like he smirks at him. The second one he looks at, he really grins really big at him. The third one, he pretends to finger bang him like pew, like a pistol. Then the other one, he honestly, I did it in the spoof as a joke, but honestly, it's the truth. It looks like he pretty much releases himself when he looks at the black guy. It's like he rolls his eyes in the back of his head and he just And I'm like, and he licks the window because he wants the black guy, and I'm like, damn, that boy thirsty. He want that black ass. Run, D, run! I say, you're like the best freaking man. You're the best freaking character of this movie, in my opinion. D, run! Don't let him get you, D. And sure enough, D does not get it. He's actually one of the survivors of Jeepers Creepers 2. Despite the creeper really wanting that ass, he don't get that ass. I even make the joke in my spoof where he goes, I came looking for booty, and then BAM! Gets harpooned in the face. Last time I take on a guy with a pole that big. Go watch the spoof, people. You'll see all this stuff will make a little bit more sense. But okay, I think I have talked enough. But in closing, I like Jeepers Creepers 1. I kind of like Jeepers Creepers 2. Jeepers Creepers 3 has some small little sprinkles in there that I kind of like. I like the fact that the black guy who I really wish I knew his name. Just a second. Okay, his name is Stan Shaw. He played the boxer in the movie Harlem Nights, and they only refer to him as the champ. So I love him in that movie. From what I've just read up, he was also in a Rocky movie where he taunts Rocky, like he kind of teases him after a fight. He was Dipper in Rocky. But yeah, I call him just the champ. I can never remember his name, but his name is Stan Shaw. Now, I love the fact that he was in there, and as soon as I saw him in the trailer of Jeepers Creepers 3, I'm like, oh, I'm sold. I'm in. I'm like, I'm watching it. I don't care how bad the movie is, I'm watching it. The champ's in there. Fuck yeah! The champ! Anyway, yeah, I like that he's in there, even though he dies. Of course he does. Of course he does. Of course he does. They can't let me have anything. Um, I like a lot of the comedic stuff that they did do in Jeepers Creepers 3, which you'll see all the comedic stuff in Jeepers Creepers 3 spoof that I did. You could watch it all in there because there's a lot of stuff in there that I was easily able to work with. So, aside from that, not much else in Jeepers Creepers 3 that I liked. Not really. Um, yeah, nothing really. Jeepers Creepers Reborn, was there anything in there that I actually enjoyed? The woman who played Lane, she's kind of hot. I ain't gonna lie, she is kind of hot. Uh, that's it. I'm like, mm, was the creeper good? No. Was the plot good? Hell no. Was the movie good? Oh boy, you have to ask. No. Um, yeah, that's it. Lane was hot. That was it. That's all I got for the movie. That's all I could say about the movie in a positive light was that the actress who played the star of the movie, well, the co-star, well, the second star of the movie, whatever you want to call her, like one of the main characters, that was it. She was hot. That was all I could grasp from that. Just, yeah, that was it. Oh, by the way, there's also a scene in Jeepers Creepers Reborn that I didn't mention in the spoof. Uh, Instead of squealing or screeching or screaming like he did in the first two movies, and well, technically, I guess third movie too, instead of just squealing like he normally does, he blows like a whistle, like he sticks his fingers in his mouth to whistle, and that's what they. He's doing a whistle motion with his hand in his mouth, like his fingers in his mouth, but the sound he's making is the screech of the creeper, but it doesn't even come, it's not even the screech of the creeper, it literally is a power drill sound effect, like from a dentist, not power drill, but it's from a drill in a dentist office going off, and literally after he stops whistling, you literally hear the whistle power down, like the drill power down, going you actually hear it power down. I'm like, did he have a power saw in his mouth, and that's what was like revving up, and then like the sound of it going whenever it powered down? I'm like, what was that? You know? I'm like, that was stupid. That was just something else I wanted to point out that was dumb. Oh, also, there's a moment where the creeper is supposed to be eating a brain in Jeepers Creepers Reborn, and it's so painfully obvious the actor is not putting this in his mouth to chew. He is literally putting it up against his lips and pretending, and he's moving his head up and down pretending he's chewing, and it's supposed to be like a forced perspective thing, but it's so painfully obvious he's not chewing this thing. And I'm like, wow. I mean, as if you needed to ask if this had a troubled production. Yes, it did. Most of this movie has a reliance on green screen. The sets are green screen. The walls are green screen. The trees are green screen. The freaking building that they're standing in is green screen, with the exception of a couple of window frames and door frames. The rest of the walls are all CGI. Um, but yes, okay. In closing, I don't know, I've already said that, but yeah, basically, what I would do is I would have the creeper completely like get his ending, and then if you wanted to keep this thing going, make a brand new creeper. Hell, make it female, because we got enough male monsters. Make it female. Make a female monster that can't be stopped. Like, she's really dark. I'm like, that'd be really cool. You know, like, do it that way. But yeah, I think I'm gonna close it with that. I don't think I got anything more to say on the matter. Feel free to comment in the comment section below. Also, would you like to see me do a reading of Jeepers Creepers 3 Cathedral? Um, I don't know. I may do it depending on how long the script is. I'm not sure, because if it's a little too long, I don't think I'm gonna really talk about it. Uh, so I don't think I'm gonna do it if it's too long. But yeah, just go look up if you want to know the full script. It's online. You can go look it up. Jeepers Creepers 3 Cathedral script. You can go read it for yourself. That was going to be the original definitive ending to the entire trilogy, but then they changed it and turned it into Jeepers Creepers 3 as we know it today. So, but all that being said, farewell wherever y'all fare. May God bless. I will see y'all next time on Leowolf TV.